So, my team is Keeping It Human. My name is Greg Montanero. I'm a main school business freshman, pursuing a dual concentration in finance and analytics with a minor in computer science. My teammate Matthew Ward is actually a student at the University of Delaware. He's one of my best friends from home. He's a computer science major. It's kind of like a kid genius at my old school. Like, he's one of my best friends. I kept talking about this idea over the past couple months. Eventually I was like, Matt, pretty sure you can join my team. Why don't you? Because you've kind of provided everything so far. He's like, absolutely. We've gotten a lot further since, and he was here last week. We were working on it, but he couldn't make the pitch, so he apologized for that. I'd also like to say thank you for coming on behalf of just not only myself, but difference maker. And let's start. So, the problem that my team tends to address is propaganda bots or trolls on social media, primarily Twitter and Facebook. So, propaganda bots or trolls are essentially accounts that impersonate real people and make politically divisive comments that kind of create an environment that's not bipartisan. It's very one side or the other, and it's not easy to talk about things anymore. And I've grown up in this environment, and I experienced with my parents. It's kind of difficult to talk about things like, hey, this is one thing, and they're instantly like this, like the other side. And it's really, I kind of find it demoralizing, since I think a large part of politics is something we should be able to come together on. And it has been identified through three things. One, the influence of social media. A recent study from Digitas, a marketing agency, found 52% of online and offline purchases were influenced by Facebook in 2015. So that just highlights the influence of social media. Secondly, Robert Mueller and his special counsel indicted the Internet Research Agency, LLC, which is a Russian organization that was not necessarily manipulating votes, but manipulating voter perception on this they should like go out and vote or do various things. And lastly, a lack of accountability on the part of Twitter and Facebook. So, Twitter and Facebook don't want to be like, yeah, this exists, because on January 20th, Twitter said, we have 670,000 people that interacted with propaganda bots. January 31st, they redacted their statements at 1.2 million. You can tell that they're kind of, like in 11 days, they're kind of like, let's just bump it up 500,000 people. They don't want to come out and say, this exists, because lawmakers will crack down on their data methods, and they stand to lose a large amount of their profits. And that is also an opportunity for us, because Twitter and Facebook have a combined user count of 2.6 billion people. Facebook alone is 2.2 billion, and Twitter has 400 billion active accounts. Twitter has 1.4 billion accounts, but only 400 million are active. So, a recent study from the University of Southern California and Indiana University found on Twitter at least 15% of their accounts, by conservative estimate, are bots. Not necessarily propaganda bots, but bots in themselves, which is at least 50 million accounts. If, say, even 2 million of those accounts were propaganda bots, that's still a lot of propaganda being thrown around. In the Brexit vote, the British government confirmed that there was some manipulation in terms of social media, with people coming in and trying to influence it. The US election and midterms are coming up. It's kind of something we want to address as soon as we can. Second, there are other solutions out there, and this is kind of where I started. I used their solutions. I used it on some of my best friends' accounts on my account. Marked 3 of them for propaganda bots, and they retweet pictures of puppies and dogs. And my account was not propaganda, which was nice, but I noticed they have issues with their algorithms, and they post their methodologies online, which I don't find to be the best idea, because if you're trying to combat someone that's very strong and powerful in lots of ways, you wouldn't want to be like, oh, here's how we do it. Because if you just tell them how you do it, they'll just change what they do, because they're a lot kind of more powerful than you in that sense. So we wouldn't publish our methodologies online. We'll go over that in the solution section, but it's very like kind of brief, comprehensive view. And our permanently program has shown promising results. We use our own accounts and a randomly sampled number of accounts to look for red flags. None of our accounts have shown us propaganda yet, but we'll see as time comes. And moving on to the solution. So, our solution would first be an extension for Twitter and Facebook. We're first focusing on Twitter. It'll be on Chrome and Mozilla. And then after that, we would be working on mobile app integration. The reason why we start on desktop is while it may be smaller, we can curate our thing as we go. And then when we get to mobile, that's where the bigger chunk is. And moving on to resources, we actually don't have a revenue model, since the only way to make money would be an unethical way of selling data from our users. So we decided we want to be a nonprofit, raise donations, and we don't really need a lot of money. We can upgrade our technology, purchase servers, get some forefront marketing, and after that, get data extraction API, certain licenses. And aside from that, Wouldn't Difference Maker would help us attract partners, which would be bringing more people in. And that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions? No rush.
Yeah, no. My question is this. So, I don't use social media,
Okay.
but I have a Facebook account. So, if I go to Facebook, why would I would use your, because again, I'm not in this space because I don't
Yeah.
use it, but
Yeah.
I would use your product because I don't want to see things like, what am I trying to avoid? I don't,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I guys missed that. So essentially, you would install an extension near everyone's Facebook name or anyone's Twitter handle. There would be a little circle, and so if the circle ranged from 0 to 30%, it would be green. The number in the middle. It said, "We're pretty confident this person's not a propaganda bot." So your everyday Joe, everyone, your friends, no one really average. And then if it was 31% to 60%, it would say, or it would be orange with the number in the middle. It would say, "We're not too sure. We're gonna look at this person we flagged, and we're gonna keep refining our methods. But keep an eye out." We're kind of giving the power to you, being like, "Hey, Josh, keep your eyes out. Let's be
Gotcha.
like, let's be aware of the fact." And then if it's 61% to 100%, we're still not gonna say this is a propaganda bot because we're not the judge and jury. We're kind of just the, hey, let's keep an eye out here. Let's be aware that the fact that this person may be manipulating you and allow you to make that decision for yourself. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So I'm not the target audience, obviously, because I don't use the products, but and what these so you're only looking for propaganda bots. You're not looking for all the other things that are out there because there's a lot of other
there's a lot of other
things
bots.
happening.
Yeah, but I haven't been able to find like a trace what they do between all the other bots because the propaganda bots have similar motives. They do similar things. They tweet similar like. There's all these words that they have that correlate to each other, all these certain parameters that all link up together. For all these other bots that like influence users to purchase certain things, they're a lot more clever since they don't really have to say like the same things constantly there's an endless world of things to talk about.
Right.
But with propaganda, there's only a certain number of things. Like if something physical happened right now, you would see an influx of tweets. A large amount of those tweets aren't even real people. They look like people. They have a face like you and I. However, they have tons of pictures of like dogs, but you never see them in their photos. It's just all these random things, like a milkshake, but like, why is there a milkshake on their feed? But then you go to their feed and it's just like, political, like 400 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just scrolling through your feed or you just look on someone else's tweet and you look at the responses, it looks like a real person. You don't think to yourself like, that's a propaganda bot. You think like, why does this person think that? And slowly over time, this keeps happening and you start getting really angry. Like, why are all these people just so angry on this one side? And then you start thinking that way and then what they're trying to do starts.
Right.
But in order to see these things, you would need to be following them, correct?
So,
Or you would need to search for a hashtag.
if you say we are clicking on Donald Trump's tweet and click on one of his tweets, you scroll down. What I happen to do a lot is like I click on people's tweets and I like to see responses.
Okay.
So I like to see what people reply. If you scroll down, usually the most interactive tweet is the top one, and that can tend to be a bot, but it looks like a real person. Say it's like John4177 loves dogs.
Okay.
And then has like a real picture, and then it has like 80 replies because people at this point on Twitter are literally saying like, "Go away, bot." Like it's hilarious. People are literally just being like, "Thanks, bot." But then some people don't realize that, and they're like throwing things at them, and then people are replying because they are technically real people on the other end.
Yeah.
It's not like these are like super sophisticated robots. It's just they're considered bots because they look like real people. They're not. They have like shifts. They have night shifts. The entire thing they set up was insane, and they essentially look like real people. But you could search for hashtags, but it would show up for everyone.
Okay.
Yes.
So if, like a lot of times in my social media habits, I look for verified accounts.
Yes.
So this is an alternative to a
Yeah,
verified
yeah,
account
essentially like
where
that.
it would be on a gradient.
Yes.
So friends and family are gonna show up in the green.
Yep.
News sources would already be verified, so we know that they're
Yep.
green.
Yep.
And then this would give us an alternative to see where they kind of fall in that
Yeah.
spectrum.
Like essentially influencers, people that kind of tweet a lot, people that say a lot of things, we would kind of look at them and be like, hey, this may be someone influencing your opinion. Not necessarily being like, this is a bot, you shouldn't listen to them, because that's not really our place and that's not our expertise. It's more of like a, hey, from our studies of manipulation of people's opinions and the sense, like our algorithms say, this could be someone trying to like make you think differently than you realized before.
But
Just keep aware of that.
who's to say that some bots are opinion based and some bots, they're trying to get you to sway, but so are news sources. So how are you going to differentiate between those?
We would, one way we could do it was we just get it like a database of news sources, just
Okay.
flag them and say we won't look at news sources.
Okay.
And then for users, it would just pop up right next to them.
Okay. All right. Very cool.
So Greg, excuse me, you see, your identification of resources, you say $4,000 will fund the idea in its entirety.
In like the startup idea, I realized after
Well,
saying
okay.
entirety, yeah.
All right. So, I guess can you give me more of a big picture on where you see this through its infancy and,
Yep.
and into its maturity?
So $4,000 would essentially get us to the point of like we can launch with the kind of good feeling that someone could easily hack in, just take all the data we're trying to collecting and do exactly what we're trying to fight. We would be able to essentially set up enough servers that are backed with like correct security that would be able to like combat people trying to hack in. And what we couldn't see at any revenue model aside from donations or just people being like, oh, this is a great idea, here's some money, or things like this, where it wouldn't be like, hey, you want to download this extension which accesses all your data, I promise I won't sell it to anyone, and then I go sell it to someone, and then they just do the same thing I'm fighting. It's kind of like, it's a great idea if I'm a horrible person, but I don't like to think I am, so it's kind of, with the $4,000, we start it up, we start get going, and if it gains traction, especially in the Twitter community, it's very organic, it's very like, if people on Twitter love something, they tell everyone about it, and Twitter has this really unique culture of like not just memes, but all these different things where it's just like, this is the thing for today, and then everyone will click that thing. It kind of brings life to certain products, and so if I know certain journalists, and there's a lot of publications out there for the other propaganda bot checkers, and they're not even very successful. So if we were able to make one that is successful, in theory, we would be able to take
So
off.
why would you feel guilty selling people's data when they've already committed to selling their data anyways by going on Twitter and all these other social medias? So
Yeah.
it's not like you're doing anything that no one else is doing. So I'm just saying, like for me,
Yeah.
as an investor, I would look at this company and say, okay, this is a great idea. It's really gonna go nowhere other than just be a good service. Like,
Yeah.
it's a service for people, right?
Yes, yeah.
That they, but it'll be no way to keep it going other
Yeah, you gotta
to-
monetize it
like, cause you
somehow.
gotta monetize it, so you're not doing a disservice by selling their data because they're already committing to selling their data.
By being on social media. That's
Literally.
Or maybe you cultivate some segment of the data where it's a little more benign.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
you
that's
can
better.
batch data it, you can do whatever you want, but my
Yeah.
point is, if these users are willing to commit to you to take this plugin and to put it into their thing, because they trust you, right? Because that's a hard thing to define. Trust on the internet is a really hard thing to get because people trust Google, which is the dumbest thing in the world, but they do.
Yeah.
So, getting trust on the internet is a really hard step to get to. And I've, by the way, I've done this and I failed twice. Startups that just didn't make it because we were doing internet security. Why do they trust you over Google?
Okay.
They don't because, so, but here's the thing,
Yeah.
so if people were to adopt your product, it is okay to have them, for you to sell their data
Yeah.
because they've already committed to it. So if you, I would make that recommendation to add that to your model,
Right.
where you're gonna generate revenue from that. I don't see
Maybe-
any conflict of interest at all because you're doing it with social media, which is already a commitment to
Yeah.
giving away their data.
Maybe the
Yeah.
way to complement and offset any of your concerns is to have just a very cogent, clear, concise, understandable privacy policy.
Yeah, don't like make it like 15 pages.
And
basically.
nobody reads those.
I've noticed that.
Well, but make it one that they would, and that they would
Yeah.
Make it
understand
so you're comfortable, but the reality is you have to make money.
Yeah,
in the door.
that was one. That
You
was one
have to-
issue
you have to
we
make
run
money.
into. Like, I felt everything about our idea. We've been like, oh, we're good, and then we're like, what's our revenue model?
You have to make
And it's
money
something
to
we've like
sustain it.
we've talked about, and we're like, we don't know. But that's actually a good point. And we could also just sell it to certain advertisers we know are not doing anything unethical with it. Because I know a lot of advertisers kind of like, oh, you want the data? Here. You want the data? Here. Instead of us just being like, you want the data? Here. We're kind of like, all right, do we trust you? Okay, yeah. Then we
Well,
see
maybe part of that is, you can add an additional category to your gradient where you verify some of your advertisers and they are,
That's actually not
they're solid.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
They're gold.
And the advertisers that wanna work with you are the people that are in the same boat. They wanna combat these bots. They'll wanna partner with you. And this will open yourself up to some other generation of revenue. Because the idea is pretty good. I get, again, I don't deal with this stuff, but it sounds pretty
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
And if it can do the things that you're saying with the algorithms and you've built the back end of it,
Yep.
and it's proprietary and you can control that, you just need some way to make some money
You've
with
got,
it.
yeah, you've
Yeah,
got to
that
find
makes
that.
sense. It's not a
You've
bad
got to
idea.
find some way to
Thank you.
sustain that.
Because even nonprofits make money, they just don't turn a
Yeah,
profit.
they
They
have to
still have to
breathe.
generate
Yeah.
revenue to
Yeah,
survive.
That's something I learned like last year. I was like,
Because
what?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And they just reinvest it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the platforms will change and you'll have to change with it.
That's true.
Constantly.
Yeah, so we could, yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. Because when we were talking about our original lowest way of making money, we're like, it's not really it's kind of let's roll the dice, hope we get like a 6, and if we don't get a 6, we can't continue. And I didn't think it was good, but that's a really good idea, thank you.
Yeah, so I wouldn't feel guilty though, is what I'm telling you.
Okay, yeah,
The people are already doing it.
perfect,
You're just joining the
yeah, that works.
group of people that are doing it.
Yeah,
It's-
sure,
yeah.
So thank you
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
you,
Appreciate it, Greg.
thank you,
Good luck with everything.
thank
luck.
you.